now that this has been a conversation that's been had and the laughing and catching up went down and what have you, there had to be a conversation about what happens once the summer hits, right? I mean, there has to be that sort of conversation about what now, what next, what is something that LeBron expects, or what's something that Pelinka's thinking about, and how that can all be on the same page, right? Like, so what is the fix? What is the future, the next steps?
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, that's where I don't have clarity. I have a feel for the vibe, and the vibe, it feels to me like on the LeBron side of things, I mean, okay, he might have he sent all these strong messages, passive, aggressive, all of the above. But then I do feel as if he, when he came out of the All-Star break and he got back in the locker room with the Lakers, there was a recalibration there where he was not willing to burn the bridge entirely. It does seem pretty clear to me that, like I said earlier, there was a damage control intent. Even having the meeting shows that much. Now, what it means for the summer, we shall see. Of course, August 4th, he can sign a 2-year extension, and and that's where the question becomes: what does he want for his future? Even independent of the conversation about his son and whether or not he'll play with Bronny, I think, my goodness, Rich, last night they not only get played off the floor by the Pelicans. I just a few minutes ago watched some of the social media stuff from behind the Lakers bench. I mean, you've got Trevor Ariza, Russell Westbrook getting into it with fans. LeBron's chirping with fans while he's in the middle of the game. The Boo Birds were out. Jeannie Buss left when they were, at least appeared to leave when they were down like 25 points, left her seat and went through the tunnel. Just an ugly scene. So if you're LeBron, it just becomes, can you fix this? And if not, are you going to do something else and head out?
Well, what's the do something else? I mean, how do you see that? If, again, there's a conversation to be had about what picks to, if you will, F in the future that keeps LeBron happy, right? And then if that doesn't materialize, then LeBron will say F this and want to hit whatever button. Well, how does that work? You have to find a partner. And then, again, LeBron's contract extension, the 2 years doesn't match up when Bronny would come out. A 1+1 would, right? Like that.
Right.
Walk me through what that plan B might look like here in LA.
Yeah, I mean, it's
him.
hard to say just without knowing the market elsewhere. I mean, at face value, you feel confident saying it's LeBron, Ramon James, right? And he's still playing, probably a shade below MVP caliber level.
Right, sure.
His numbers are incredible,
right?
Not showing an ability to will them to actually win games, but he's playing, he's not the problem this year. So you've got a lot of teams that are going to be interested, but what's the price tag going to be if they decide, mutually to do something? I don't know what that looks like. I also think, and I think you're probably extremely well versed in this, having covered the Lakers for a long time. Like, how interesting is this dynamic in the context of Lakers history, Lakers culture? Jeannie Buss, the way she was raised by her father to run this thing. Yes, they are a star-friendly culture. They also traded Shaquille O'Neal when they thought that was prudent. They have made other tough choices before. I do feel like there is a bit of a kind of a cat and mouse game happening right now between the two sides, where they're deciding what they think of one another at this stage of the relationship. And so that's where, you can't read Jeannie's mind, but, is she thinking about moving past this chapter? I don't know. I think she's pretty pragmatic, and she's, shown an ability to make tough choices before, so I wouldn't take that off the table. And that's where I think they have to see how the end of the season wraps up, see what the possibilities are in the summer in terms of the roster, and then go from there.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, I know Kobe, rest his soul, before he passed, told her that she needed to be like the mother of dragons, right, when she makes these types of decisions. But I also think, what the Lakers would love to have is, why wouldn't the Lakers? It's so on brand for them to want to have LeBron finish his career here, let him have his Griffey season with his son here, while spending whatever picks need to be spent to get a championship roster for his dotage years here, and sell the jerseys and get the attention and have all of those ceremonies. Like, that's their brand, right? Don't you think?
It is,
Sam?
It is, but I mean, for one, it's sell all those picks. I mean, really, by the time this summer comes around, we are talking about 2 first-round picks. I believe 2027 and 2029.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not getting you another star. That might get you off of Russell Westbrook. That will get you off of Russell Westbrook. But I don't see a path currently toward a title-worthy roster. And then the other thing, I guess, to give a hat tip to a colleague of mine who has certainly had a very interesting couple days is Bill Oram, who covers the Lakers for The Athletic, had reported this it didn't fly under the radar, but I don't think it got enough credit. That his understanding in terms of the Lakers' view of this thing is that LeBron and Clutch at this point have more influence and more sway than Kobe even did. And that's such an incredible statement. And to me, that's where it comes back to Jeannie, and it's like, what's her comfort level if, in fact, that is the kind of the feel and the vibe and the read of the room. I think there's a fair question of like, LeBron, we want you here, and yeah, we'd love it if you finish your career here and all these things. But if you think you're going to run the entire franchise and take complete control of this thing, that's not happening.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.